On behalf of the Park Vista High School School Counseling Department, I would like to welcome you to our annual Freshmenology High School 101 presentation. As your ninth grader is learning the ropes of how to navigate high school, we would also like to share with you information, tools, and tips on how to assist your student to be successful during the next 4 exciting years of their lives. First, a little history regarding our school, which is now in its 17th year. Since August 2004, Park Vista High School has existed as a comprehensive high school with 2 choice academy programs in auto and 2 in-house academies in multimedia communications and medical. Currently, we have a total student population of 3,121 students, 740 of those being members of the freshman class. Academically, we are an A-rated school and have repeatedly been named in the Washington Post's top high schools list. Overwhelmingly, 93% of our seniors have a plan to continue with their education following graduation. As you can see from the slide, 63% of our seniors are accepted into 4-year universities, in-state, out-of-state, or private, while 30% choose to attend 2-year state colleges where many of these students complete an Associates of Arts program and transfer to a 4-year university, or they start working after completing technical vocational programs. Based on this data, most of our seniors have a college career-ready plan in mind, which is one of the objectives we'd like to see our freshmen achieve at the conclusion of their 4 years of high school. What are the major differences between middle school and high school? Well, your freshmen will be seeing significant changes as they begin this new school year. First of all, it's a longer school day. Middle school traditionally begins around 9 a.m., more or less, and they conclude the day around 4 o'clock, while high school, we start bright and early at 7:30 with dismissal at 2:45. And there's also 7 class periods rather than the 6 class periods they had during middle school. GPA, grade point average, is very important. It's cumulative in high school. In middle school, they use points for promotion, while we focus on credits for graduation. Just the size of the school, there's a major difference. At Park Vista, we have over 3,121 students, while at middle schools tend to have between 1,200 and 1,500 students. Also, we do not have summer school. I know in middle school, they can retake courses, usually pretty quickly through their Compass program. Well, we don't have that. So if a student does not finish a course successfully, it's going to take them longer. Sometimes they'll have to retake the course in place of an elective the following year, or think of other online options that will take much longer than Compass. We have semester exams and EOC exams, which are comprehensive exams based on the material they learned in the semester or the whole year, while rather in middle school they have 9-week tests that's just solely based on what they've learned that 9 weeks. And also, we have older kids. On average, our students are between 14 and 20 years old. So there are major differences that your students are going to see once they start school here. The following are the graduation requirements for the class of 2025. Students must earn 24 credits by the time they graduate in the following areas. 4 credits of English, so they have to pass English every year. 4 credits of math. 1 must be in Algebra 1 and then another credit in geometry. 3 credits of science. 1 must include biology and 2 other credits in equally rigorous course credits. That could be physical science, chemistry. Later on they can take anatomy, environmental science. 3 credits of social studies. 1 must be in world history, 1 in American history, and then a half credit of American government and a half credit of economics. 1 full credit of PE. At Park Vista, our students take a half credit of personal fitness and a half credit of any other PE course. 1 credit of a performing fine art class. So that class can be any art class. It could be chorus, band, keyboarding, theater, debate, digital infotech. Those are just a few examples of courses we have here that are performing art classes. And then if I didn't mention it, it will count as an elective. So students need 8 credits of electives to graduate. So anything I didn't mention will automatically count as an elective. So this makes it a total of 24 credits. Students also have to maintain or graduate with a cumulative grade point average of a 2.0 in all of their high school credit courses. They also need to pass 2 state assessments. 1 is the grade 10 ELA FSA, and they also have to pass the Algebra 1 EOC. Now, it's also important to realize that there's going to be other EOC exams that your students will be taking. 1 is in geometry, One is in biology, one is US history. Although those EOCs are not a graduation requirement, they are 30% of their grade for that class, so it's important that they do well in those exams. Also, they have to pass the Algebra 1 EOC, as I mentioned before, and 30% of their grade is also based on that exam. Students also have to earn 20 hours of community service prior to completing high school. This is not 20 hours per year, it's 20 hours total. They could have started this already this past summer after their 8th grade year. And please keep in mind, for scholarships and opportunities, they may require more. This is also something I'll discuss later. And also, incoming 9th graders must earn a full credit in at least one online course. Typically, they take this through Florida Virtual. Please keep in mind that the requirements I just reviewed are the minimum that are needed to graduate high school. If your child is planning to attend a 4-year university, they will need to add more academic rigor to their schedule. For example, the State University System of Florida requires that students complete a minimum of 18 academic credits while in high school to include at least 4 credits in math at the Algebra 1 level or above, and they also need to earn 2 years of the same foreign language. For example, Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 or French 1 and French 2. Foreign language is not a requirement to graduate high school. What will your student's schedule look like during the day? Well, a typical 9th grade schedule has English, math, science, and social studies, their PE credit, personal fitness, and then team sports, and then 2 elective credits. Park Vista is on an odd-even calendar with typically 1 7-period day per week. For example, a student will go to all 7 classes 1 day a week, usually on a Monday, and then will alternate odd-even days for the rest of the week. On an even day, a student will go to 2nd, 4th, and 5th, 6th period. 2nd, 4th, and 6th will be about 105 minutes long for each class session. 5th hour is 57 minutes long, and it's right before lunchtime, lunchtime is around 45 minutes. Students will attend 5th hour every day, regardless of whether it's a block day or 7-period day, since this is the common period. The next day could be odd, and those students will be attending 1st, 3rd, and 5th, and 7th. Rest assured, there's no guessing game, and your students will receive a color-coded calendar. However, it is important to know that block days are essentially 2 class sessions in one. So if your student misses a 2nd period on a block day, they will be counted as absent twice for that period. If you miss 5 block days those days, they count as 10. Attendance is very important in high school, so please plan your vacations during days we have off, weekends, breaks. It's very easy to fall behind when you miss a couple of days and very difficult to catch up. Most educators will agree that attendance is the #1 predictor of student academic success. How will your students earn credits and grades during high school? Each semester is divided into 2 9-week periods and a semester exam. For example, let's say your student earns an A for the first 9 weeks in their English class. That A is 40% of their semester grade. And then second 9 weeks, let's say they earn a B. That's also 40% towards their semester grade. And then the semester exam, they take semester exams usually the last week before the break. Whatever they earn in that semester exam is 20% of their grade. So let's say they earn an A. An A, B, and an A will then become an A for the semester, and they will earn a half credit for that course. As long as the student passes with an A, B, C, or D, they will earn a half credit. The final grade also will be calculated towards their GPA. And GPAs are always recalculated at the end of every semester. So when we start second semester, again, we're starting a new session, new term with that course. It's second semester English, so that you'll have third 9 weeks is going to be 40%, fourth 9 weeks is going to be 40%, and the exam is going to be 20%. The only type of courses that really don't follow this pattern are the EOC courses. Courses such as Algebra 1, Geometry, Biology, and US History, they are year-long courses and will be giving a final grade at the end of the year. They will not earn a semester grade. So when you see Algebra 1 first semester and you'll see a first 9 weeks, a second 9 weeks, an exam, you're going to notice there is no final grade because they haven't taken the EOC exam yet, which is at the end of the year, and they have to also go through third 9 weeks, fourth 9 weeks, and so forth. So the breakdown for these type of EOC courses is that the first 9 weeks is 15.4% of the grade, the final grade. The second 9 weeks is 15.4%, and the first semester exam is 8.4. Then the third 9 weeks is also 15.4%, fourth 9 weeks 15.4%, and then the EOC is 30% of the grade for that class. If they do everything successfully, then they will earn 1 full credit for that EOC course. So it's very important that they do well every quarter in every exam. Grades do matter, grades do count. To calculate a student's GPA, every final grade that a student earns at the end of the semester is assigned points. A's are assigned 4 points, B's 3, C's 2, D's 1, and F's 0s. These semester and final grades are averaged, and the student's GPA will be calculated at the end of every semester based on the total number of grades that the student has earned in high school at this point. A student will also have an honors point average, HPA, also known as the weighted GPA. The HPA is similar to how the GPA is calculated, with the exception that extra weighting or points are added to each grade according to the academic level of the course. For example, if a student earned an A in honors biology, for HPA purposes, the A would be worth 4.5. For an ACE level course, the A is worth 6 points. HPA is not used to determine graduation status. This is strictly the GPA. However, when a student is applying for colleges, universities, and scholarships, they may be required to provide their weighted GPA, and this is when the HPA becomes handy. This is an example of how a student's final grades from first semesters were calculated. As you can see, the students have 7 classes. They're all regular, so when we're doing GPA, we assign the point values, we divide by 7, and as you can see, this student earned 20 points based on the points that he earned with every grade. We divide by 7, and his GPA is a 2.8571. As I mentioned before, the student had all regular classes, so when we calculate the honors point average, his GPA is a 2.8571 as well. They're both the same since there was no weighting added to any of his classes for HPA purposes. The following is an example of a student who had a mixture of regular, honors, and AP, and here you can see a clearer difference between GPA and HPA. So for GPA purposes, we treated all the classes as if they were regular. We assigned the points. We divide by 7. The student earned 24 points. Divided by 7, the student's GPA is a 3.4286. When we run the HPA, it's going to be a little bit different. With the regular classes, we assign the points as if it were a straight GPA. However, this student did have several honors and an AP or ACE. So for ACE, AP, ACE English, notice that the student was assigned 6 points for his A for HPA. The math honors was a 2.25, science honors was a 4.5, social studies honors 4.5, and the rest were assigned regular points. This student earned 27.25 points, divide by 7. His HPA is a 3.8929. So there's a difference just based on the GPA and HPA because this student did have several honors and AP ACE type courses. We constantly tell our students that grades matter, and once you start taking high school credit courses, everything starts to count on their transcript, which is their high school academic record. We always meet with seniors at the beginning of the school year to review their academic records and plans after high school. One of the most common statements we hear from them is, "I wish I had done better my freshman year." They are envious of our 9th graders because for the most part, they have a clean slate and the possibilities are endless on what they can do, provided that they perform well in high school. Students need to understand that grades are earned and not negotiated. For example, a student may realize at the end of the quarter, "Wow, my grade is now a D in science, but maybe if my teacher allows me to do some homework assignments or make up the test from 5 weeks ago, or even give me extra credit, I'll be able to raise my grade." At the high school level, this is not a very realistic expectation unless the student was absent, and even then, student needs to make up work in a timely fashion. It is important that students establish good, consistent study habits from the very beginning in order to achieve academic success. It is very important to earn good grades from the very beginning, not only for graduation, but also athletic teams require that students have a 2.0 GPA to participate in sports during high school. Good grades can make all the difference when students apply to colleges or even for scholarships. Colleges will review final grades starting freshman year all the way through the end of their junior year. and remember, everything counts. Students need to avoid failing courses which will result in having to retake classes, hence most likely delaying graduation. Attending classes regularly, good time management skills, completing work, being organized are all key to being a successful student. Not only do we try to motivate our students to start off on the right foot academically, we also encourage our students to become involved in an extracurricular activity while they're in high school. Students tend to have a more memorable time and form lasting friendships when they are part of an athletic team or part of a club or organization such as band or chorus. Most often, students learn life skills such as time management, teamwork, and responsibility. Often we notice a correlation with students who perform well academically and are involved in a sport or activity because there is very little downtime, and the time they do have, they are prioritizing their homework and studies first before watching TV or playing a computer game. As you can see on this slide, Park Vista has an array of clubs and organizations to choose from. We also have a very strong competitive sports program at Park Vista. For more information, please visit the athletics section of our school website at www.pvchs.com. Go Cobras! A common question that we receive from some parents is, will my child be promoted to the next grade level if they do not do well this past year? The answer is yes. We do not retain at the high school level. A student could have a 1.0 GPA and only have earned about 2 credits and still be promoted to the next grade level. However, you must look at the big picture. Even though a student will be promoted, they are still at risk of not graduating on time because they have a low GPA and/or have insufficient credits. This means retaking classes that may be meant for 9th grade during your 10th grade year. When a student begins with an extremely low GPA and few credits, the climb upward is that much more difficult and time-consuming. SIS Gateway is a wonderful tool to monitor your students' progress. Encourage your child to check their grades weekly on SIS. When a student is aware of their progress, they have more control on what they can do to improve their grades, and it also provides positive reinforcement to continue to do well if they are already earning good grades. When you view your child's grades on SIS, speak to your child first if you have any questions regarding their grades or progress. If the student is not sure why they may not be doing well, encourage your child to email or speak to their teacher. Remember, we want our students to learn to advocate for themselves, problem solve, and begin to have some sense of autonomy when communicating with their teachers. If you feel that your child has attempted to speak to their teacher and you still do not have enough information, you may also email the teacher directly using the teacher email link on SIS. If issues are still unresolved, please contact your student's school counselor. Students and parents can also navigate SIS to find out the student's graduation status, GPA, class rank, history of grades, test scores, community service hours, report cards, and absences. Remember, SIS is an extremely valuable tool where many of your questions can be answered efficiently and just a click away. In summary, when you ever have an academic concern about one of your students' classes, the following steps should be taken. First, students should speak to their teachers directly if they have a concern. This does not mean interrupting their teacher in the middle of instruction to discuss a poor grade that the student earned on their last quiz. A student can email a teacher directly or ask to speak to them before class or at the end. Remember, the student needs to first initiate this conversation. As a parent, I know we always want to come to our children's rescue, but now that they're in high school and are only a few years away from entering the world of adulting, we really need to support and encourage our students to communicate with their teachers and take ownership of their situation. If you feel that your child has spoken to the teacher and the issue is still not resolved, then as a parent, you may email the teacher directly. If the issue is still not resolved, then your student should see their school counselor. We may be able to help problem solve or provide insight to their situation. And if the problem is still not resolved, then the parent may contact the school counselor to further discuss their concerns. For a successful freshman year, attendance is a must. As I mentioned before, if a student is not attending school regularly, they are at greater risk of not graduating on time, not to mention that there is very little an educator can do to help if the student is not present in class. Students need to establish good study habits such as being organized, using a planner to keep track of their work, studying every day, even when they say there's no homework. If your child says that they do not have homework, that is not true. There is always homework. Studying for test or quiz that may be a week away or reading a novel required for class is homework. Make sure to follow SIS. It can be your best friend. Getting involved while they're in high school is also important for students, not only for their social and emotional growth, but also for the life skills that they will learn that will help them after they graduate. And lastly, when students establish short-term and long-term goals while they're in high school, for instance, a long-term goal can be, I want to attend this university, become this profession, while the short-term goal is, I want to improve my grades on a weekly basis by turning in all of my work every day, then the student will have some kind of purpose and see the relevance of why school is important. Testing. It simply will not go away. Earlier during this presentation, I mentioned the 2 required state assessments and the other EOCs that your student will be taking during high school. And as your student continues through school, there will be the PSAT, which is a preliminary practice exam for the SAT, and college admissions tests such as the SAT and ACT. Your student may also take courses that are college level and require a test that they have to take and pass during college credits, such as advanced placement and ACE. Also, students may have to take industry exams if they're in the academy. Even after high school and college, students may still have to take other exams such as the GRE for a master's program, or MCAT for medical school, LSAT for law school, or board exams. And there are also certification exams depending on your profession or career. Testing is a part of life, and all we can do is continue to be positive, supportive, and encouraging when our students are taking these exams while they're in high school, with the hope that they have this same attitude when they face more tests in the future. At the beginning of this presentation, I mentioned that one of our objectives for our freshmen is for them to have a college career-ready goal by the time they graduate high school. What does it take for our students to be college career-ready? As I previously discussed, to be eligible for college admissions to a state university in Florida, a student must earn a minimum of 18 academic units. Specifically, these 18 credits are 4 credits of English, 4 credits of math at the Algebra 1 level or higher, 3 credits of a natural science, 3 credits of social science, 2 sequential credits of the same foreign language such as Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 or French 1 and French 2, and then 2 elective units, preferably in the subject areas that I mentioned before, making this a total of 18 academic credits. This is the minimum. However, still having a minimum of 18 academic credits does not necessarily guarantee college admission to your university of choice. Most students who are accepted have beyond what is required. This student who was accepted to FSU had 23 academic credits. For example, specifically, they had 4.5 credits of English, 5.5 credits of math, 4.5 of science, 5 of social studies, and they went beyond the 2 years of foreign language. This student had specifically 3.5 credits. So one can conclude that having rigor in one's schedule is very important for college admission. A tool we like to give our students every year, which serves as a good indicator for college admissions to a Florida university, is the State University System Matrix. The matrix provides data on what the previous graduation class had on average to be accepted to the universities listed. The matrix provides information such as how many students are enrolled, mid-range GPA, SAT, and ACT. For example, let's take a look at the University of Florida. If you look at our total enrollment, over 54,000 students are enrolled at the University of Florida. Now, it's a good number to see in terms of enrollment for our students, because some students are deciding whether they want to go to a big university, a small, mid-size. At least the total enrollment gives an idea of how big that university is. And yes, University of Florida is one of the biggest universities in the state, if not in the nation. Weighted GPA. Now, the weighted GPA at the University of Florida, now this is a mid-range. Remember, this is on average. Students didn't have to have exactly this GPA to be admitted to University of Florida. They could have had a little bit less or a little bit more, but this is the mid-range, and the mid-range is between a 4.2 and a 4.5. So what that's telling me, when I see a GPA that's over 4.0, clearly it's weighted. Weighted GPAs, when the mid-range, that's telling me that most students must have taken mostly honors, AP, ACE, dual enrollment, because when a student applies to college, the college admissions, they will look at the transcript and see what their GPA and HPA is, but that GPA is based on a recalculated one that the universities do when they're looking at those academic units. The minimum, remember, they have to have the minimum of 18 academic units. University of Florida students who apply there most likely had way over 18 academic units, probably on average between 25 and 30. and they'll look at those units and then they'll recalculate the GPA just based on those academic classes. They will weight anything that's honors, AP, ACE, or dual enrollment, and this is the GPA that they come up with. So that's the mid-range. Again, this is telling because it's telling me that rigor is very important. Colleges like to see the rigor, and if you see with the University of Florida, they're no exception. SAT. If you look at the SAT scores, the mid-range for the English-based reading writing is between a 630 and a 710. The math is between a 624 and a 730. Now, SAT, you start taking spring semester of your junior year. That's what we recommend. And of course, your students will be doing the PSAT, which gives them practice on the SAT. And the PSAT also gives them, for instance, an opportunity to log on to Khan Academy once they get their PSAT result. And Khan Academy will give them tutoring and practice exams and practice problems so they can prepare themselves for the SAT when they eventually take it. Because the more you study for SAT and another test would be the ACT that they will take, the better chances you have of being successful on these tests. So if you look at the University of Florida and with those mid-range SATs, those are pretty high scores because the highest you can earn on the SAT for the English reading and writing section is an 800, and for the math is an 800. So again, this is a competitive score for the University of Florida. ACT is another test that we encourage students to take starting the spring semester of their junior year. Universities will accept either or. So the ACT has 4 sections, the English, reading, math, and science. The highest you can get in each section is a 36. So the 28 to 32 score that you're seeing there is the composite score, which is the average of the 4 sections. And again, the highest is a 36. So this is a pretty high score, 28 to 32, mid-range. Again, students may have a little bit less or more of these from what the mid-range is indicating here to get accepted. This is just what's on average what students had. First year retention rate. This is an important number. 96% retention after first year. What that means is 96% of the students that started at the University of Florida continued after their first year. Again, we feel a lot of this has to do with the type of academic preparation that the student may have had in high school. If students are adding more rigor to their schedule, especially when the classes are at a college level or the students are challenging themselves by taking more science classes or going beyond what's required for math and so forth, that's going to help them be successful and continue in college. And then if you look at the 6-year graduation rate, their graduation rate is an 87% within the 6 years, which is actually pretty good. So that's telling you that students are graduating. And again, we feel like that has a lot to do with the type of preparation students are getting in high school once they go on to college. So these are all important numbers. This matrix, like I said, it's a very valuable tool. We actually have it posted on our school website under the school counseling section under college admissions. So we encourage our students to take a look at it every year, and we also provide this to them every year once it's updated. Every year, we also give our students updated information regarding the Bright Future Scholarship Program. This program provides scholarships to students who are eligible and plan to attend a university in the state of Florida. Students have until the end of their senior year to qualify for this scholarship that can cover as much as 100% of tuition and fees in the state of Florida. There are 2 main scholarships under the Bright Future Scholarship Program that I'm going to review right now, and one is the Florida Academic Scholars Program. This scholarship can pay as much as 100% of tuition and fees, again, to a public university in Florida. This does not include room and board. This is strictly tuition and fees. To qualify for this scholarship, a student must earn a 3.5 minimum weighted GPA. This GPA is not based on, for instance, a GPA that a student or HPA that a student will earn at Park Vista High School. Again, this is a recalculated weighted GPA based on their academic credits. It's based on their language arts, their math credits, algebra 1 and above, their science credits, social studies, and their 2 years of the foreign language minimum with an additional 2 or 3 credits of other academic units. They have to earn 100 hours of community service. Remember in the beginning of our presentation when I reviewed the community service requirement for graduation, I mentioned that some scholarships may require more. Well, this is one of them. This is 100 hours of community service. Students also must earn either a 1330 on the SAT or a 29 on the ACT. Remember, the highest a student can earn on the SAT is a 1600, and the highest on the ACT is a 36. And students can retake the SAT again and also the ACT, and they'll do something what's called super scoring, and they'll take the highest English reading writing of the SAT and combine it with the highest math that a student may have taken on the SAT, and they'll do the same thing with the ACT. The Florida Medallion is another scholarship under Bright Futures. This one pays close to 75% of tuition and fees. To earn this scholarship, students have to earn a 3.0 weighted GPA in those same academic courses I mentioned before. They have to earn 75 hours of community service, and then a 1210 on the SAT or a 25 on the ACT. Again, this is a wonderful program that Florida has, and we see more and more students staying in Florida to go to school because of these scholarship programs. So why is earning scholarships for college so important? Well, let's take a look on how much it costs per year to attend a 4-year public university in Florida. If we break it all down from tuition and fees, books, supplies, computer, cell phone use, housing, food, transportation, clothing, other personal items, more or less the price tag for 1 year at a public university in Florida on average is over $21,000. Multiply that times 4 and you're looking at over $80,000 for your students' college education if they were to remain here in state. So now that Bright Futures slide that I just reviewed is looking very appealing, I'm sure. And again, that's just covering tuition and fees. Of course, students can stack other scholarships on top of that. They just have to remember that, again, many scholarships, they look at students' grades, they look at their test scores, the activities, the community service. That's why all of this is important. If a student is interested in a private school or an out-of-state school, and again, you saw earlier in our presentation, we have students going out of state, it's really important that they already start researching not just the requirements for admission, but also any type of scholarship programs they may have. Many out-of-state schools do have scholarship programs because they want to attract students from all over the country, and also private schools as well. But again, the grades, test scores, activities, community service, that's all very important, and they do take that all into account. More and more students are opting to attend a state college such as Palm Beach State. Typically at a state college, students will complete an Associates of Arts AA degree program, which is equivalent to completing their first 2 years of a 4-year university. If students complete an AA program, they are guaranteed admission to at least one university in the state of Florida. However, it may not be the one of their choice. Students still need to make sure that they are earning good grades at the state college, especially if they are interested in a competitive university. One reason that students are opting for state college is the cost of tuition. As you can see from this chart, 1 year state college is worth over $4,500 compared to the $21,000 price tag of a 4-year university. Also, state colleges will take Bright Futures and may have other scholarship programs that students may qualify for. A student may choose to go to state college not necessarily to earn an AA degree to continue to a 4-year university, but they may enroll in a vocational technical program where they can be working full-time in a career within a year or two. Palm Beach State College offers 52 technical specialties in their post-secondary adult vocation program, and you can find their information on their website. There are other technical schools that include, for instance, the Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, Universal Technical Institute, ITT. Please keep in mind that these are private technical schools, so it's still very important to research financial aid and scholarships. We also have students who decide to join the military, whether that's directly after high school, or they may decide to attend college on an ROTC scholarship, or attend one of the service academies, such as the U.S. Naval Academy or the Air Force Academy. Park Vista has military academy representatives that visit each fall, and we also have recruiters available on Wednesdays during lunch. We offer the ASVAB, the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery Test, every November to our students, typically to our juniors and seniors. Not only are these students who decide to take the test because they want to join the military, but Basically, anyone can take this test, especially if they're not sure what they want to do in the future, because the ASVAB is an excellent career aptitude test. When the students receive their results, they'll see which career clusters they may be suited for based on the test results. Every student has a different path, and success does not necessarily mean a 4-year degree. The important thing to remember is that your student continues with their education after high school, whether that is in a job training setting, technical school, state college, university, or military. We are very excited to meet your freshmen the week of September 13th through the 17th. Every year as a school counseling department, we meet every freshman both in small groups and individually to discuss graduation requirements, to discuss how grades work, credits, bright futures information, and we also ask them about their interests, hobbies, and plans and goals they may have for after high school. This is a great opportunity for not only the counselors to get to know their students, but also for the student to become acquainted with the school counseling office and what role their school counselor may have during their high school career. Please make sure to mark your calendars for semester exams. First semester exams are from December 17th through the 22nd, and second semester exams are from May 23rd through the 26th. Please avoid scheduling any vacations, appointments, or anything that may conflict with these dates. Remember, these exams are worth 20% of your child's final grade for the semester. We will have an assembly for those students and parents who are interested in our Advanced Placement, ACE, and Dual Enrollment programs on January 27th at 6 p.m. For those students who wish to apply for AP and ACE courses, those applications will be due online on February 3rd. And the lists of AP, ACE, and accepted students will be posted online on February 11th. The following are important dates for the 2022-2023 registration process. On January 20th, we will hold a meeting for our parents to discuss this process. On January 25th, 26th, 27th, there will be student assemblies where we will review with the students and remind them on what they need to do to select their classes. On February 25th, course selections are due. And then from April 1st to the 22nd, students will meet with their school counselors to finalize courses. Parents, we hope to see you at our coffee talks. During these informational meetings that are held on Thursday mornings every 6 to 8 weeks, the Park Vista School Counseling Department will review popular topics that parents most often inquire about. This year's topics are the State University System of Florida Spotlight and the college application process. We have a virtual coffee talk on careers. Later in January, we have the registration process for the 2022-2023 classes. Another virtual coffee talk will be held in March regarding the NCAA NAIA eligibility process. And then we end the year in April with the demystifying the college application process. Your child will receive their official schedule on the first day of school on Tuesday, August 10th in the gymnasium beginning at 6:30 a.m. There will be heavy traffic and long lines, so please plan accordingly. Students are expected to be in their first period no later than 7:30 a.m. when the tardy bell rings, but please don't worry because there will be plenty of adults around to assist them. Park Vista High School has one lunch period right after fifth hour, and it is 45 minutes long. Students can choose to eat in the cafeteria or in the courtyard. They may use their electronics and phones during this time as well. Many clubs meet during lunch, and there may also be tutoring available later in the year. If your child likes to buy lunch, there will be different options on where they can purchase their lunch. However, we strongly recommend that they bring their own lunch the first few days of school until they are familiar with these options and to avoid being in a long line of people who may not realize that there are other options. To sign a student out for early release, please refer to the student handbook on our school website. There is no signing out students after 2:15 p.m. since school is out at 2:45. If you plan on picking your child up during lunch, you will need to call or contact them directly as there is no PA use during lunch. Remember, they do have use of their phones during their lunch period. Please keep in mind if they are not in school, they are missing valuable instruction. Dress code will be reviewed with students once the school year starts. However, this slide strongly indicates what students should not be wearing throughout the school year. Your student may have many questions or issues that may arise during the school year. Anything related to academic issues, personal issues, social emotional, volunteer hours, college career planning, or scheduling issues, they need to see their school counselor. If there's a discipline issue, questions regarding tardies, absences, electronic device confiscation, lockers, they need to speak to their assistant principal. And when students have questions about sports, clubs, activities, later on they may want to purchase a driving decal when they're a junior or senior in high school, or prom tickets, they need to contact the activities office. Students are assigned to their assistant principal and school counselor according to their last name. So if their last name begins with the letter B, their assistant principal will be Ms. Defante, and they will have Mr. Torini as their school counselor. If your child has intensive reading on their schedule, it was added after Park Vista reviewed 8th grade FSA scores from 8th grade for all incoming 9th grade students. If a student scored level 1 or 2 on their 8th grade FSA ELA, they were required to be placed into an intensive reading class for 9th grade. Remember that the 10th grade FSA ELA is a graduation requirement, and we want to do all that we can to prepare these students so they are ready to take the tests. Intensive reading also will count as an elective credit. When your student sees your schedule for the first time, their initial reaction may be, "I need a schedule change now." However, freshmen requiring a schedule change can only begin contacting their school counselor in person beginning August 13th, before school, after school, or during lunch, so they really need to be patient. They also need to realize that changes will only be considered for the following reasons. Student is in the wrong level and or unqualified for the present course. Student has already taken and passed the present course, teacher recommendation, or student currently has the class online. Changes will not be considered for the following reasons. Student wishing to change teacher or periods for the same course, or student wishing to change an elective. No schedule change request will be accepted via email or phone. This is the part of the presentation that as a school counseling department we consider the most important when it comes to your child's personal growth and development, and you, the parent, play a very important role in this. We sometimes place too much emphasis on high school being all about earning good grades at all costs, or making the sports team, or trying to get into an elite college, that we forget that this is also the time that we should be teaching our students on how to be problem-solving, socially, emotionally adjusted, confident young adults. The most important gift that we can allow our students to have is the gift of failure. Now, what does that exactly mean? As parents, we tend to want to rescue our children from any type of unpleasantness or keep them from experiencing a bad situation because honestly, we love them, we don't want them to perhaps go through what we went through, or we simply just want them to be happy. However, there is no real growth in a person if they do not suffer a little bit. No pain, no gain. Think about when you first learned how to ride a bike. You had someone hold on to the back of the seat for support until suddenly they let go. Most likely, you fell, skinned your knee, elbow, and you were hurt. But you got back on the bike. Probably fell down some more, but ultimately you rode the bike successfully. You mastered riding a bike, and you learned from trial and error. It's okay to fall down. It's okay if your students fail. Parents, the days of micromanaging need to come to an end. Parents who tend to do everything for their children will result in their children becoming adults who lack the confidence and resiliency to handle tough situations later in life. This is the time to encourage your child to accept responsibility and to problem solve when things do not go their way. If a student does poorly in a test, don't make excuses for them. Let them feel the F. Allow them to self-correct. They will learn from this. They will grow. Yes, having good grades and test scores are important. However, if a student has an awesome academic record, yet is unable to demonstrate independence and is constantly second-guessing themselves every time they make a decision because someone always took care of things for them, then how successful will they truly be in college and ultimately in the workforce? We see today's younger generation struggle in the workforce. When it comes to the skills most needed by employers, job candidates are lacking most in written and oral communication skill, adaptability, and managing multiple priorities and making decisions and problem solving, according to a special report by the Chronicle of Higher Education and American Public Media's Workplace. By allowing students to fail and feel the inconvenience of their mistakes and then encouraging them to work out their problems, we are actually helping them develop their executive function, which are a set of skills controlled by the frontal lobe of their brain. Executive function helps you manage time, pay attention, switch focus, plan, organize, remember details like homework. So allow your students to try, to fail, suffer a little, remedy, and then try again, over and over again until they learn. A few missed lunches or a 0 on the homework assignment that your student left on the kitchen counter will reinforce these skills better than lectures or nagging ever will. Every intervention or rescue is a lesson lost. So let's say your student forgot their lunch. I know our first knee-jerk reaction would be to bring it to them, or maybe stopping by Wendy's and dropping it off. However, due to safety concerns, food and beverage drop-off by parents and vendors will not be permitted. So let your child figure it out. The district has a policy in place to assist students in which they can charge $2.30 to their lunch account. They can establish their own lunch account online. There are many famous failures who later in life became successful individuals because of their failures. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Perhaps my favorite is from Michael Jordan, who said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games, 26 times. I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Parents, please partner with us in developing your child. In just 4 short years, they'll be moving from high school into college, the military, vocational school, or the workforce. Let's help them become problem solvers and be able to advocate for themselves. Working together, we can make them as prepared as possible for the next chapter in their lives. The following books are recommended if you would like to learn more about how to make your children more successful in terms of demonstrating grit, resiliency, and how they can learn from the gift of failure. If you would like to find more information about Park Vista Community High School, please visit our website at www.pvchs.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You will also be receiving weekly emails through Parent Link regarding all the latest and updated information from our school counseling office. Good luck to our freshmen, the class of 2025, and good luck to their parents. We look forward to working with your students during these next 4 exciting years of their lives.